History of the Achaemenids. The Achaemenids are one of the largest and most influential dynasties in Iranian and world history, which were able to form a vast empire from Central Asia to North Africa and Europe. Known as the First World Empire, this dynasty ruled from 550 before Christ to 330 before Christ. In this video, we will examine the history of the Achaemenids from the time of their founding to the fall of the dynasty, and we will examine the role of the important kings of this period. Establishment of the Achaemenid dynasty. The Achaemenid dynasty was founded by Cyrus the Great in 550 BC. By defeating Astyages, the last king of Media, Cyrus was able to seize power in the region and establish the Achaemenid Empire. Cyrus the Great is known as one of the greatest rulers in history due to his tolerant policies and respect for different cultures and religions. He expanded his empire by conquering Lydia, Babylon, and parts of Asia Minor. Cyrus the Great was not only a great conqueror, but also a great administrator and politician. He was able to gain the loyalty of the people of the conquered regions by respecting their rights. One of Cyrus's most important actions was the issuance of the Charter of Human Rights, which emphasized freedom of religion and respect for human rights. This charter is known today as one of the first human rights documents in history. Expansion of the Achaemenid Empire. Under Cyrus the Great, the Achaemenid Empire expanded rapidly. He became one of the most powerful kings in the world with the conquest of Babylon in 539 BC. After him, Cambyses II, son of Cyrus, was able to conquer Egypt and extend the Achaemenid Empire into North Africa. However, Cambyses' death on his return from Egypt caused a succession crisis. At this time, Darius the Great came to power. He was able to restore stability to Iran by suppressing internal rebellions and reorganizing the empire. Darius the Great also established a systematic administrative and tax system and began the construction of Persepolis. He provided rapid communication between different parts of the empire by creating roads such as the Royal Road. Darius the Great also paid special attention to the development of culture and art. The construction of Persepolis as a symbol of the power and glory of the Achaemenid Empire was one of his most important achievements. This massive complex includes palaces, ceremonial halls, and reliefs that showcase Achaemenid art and architecture. Iran-Greece Wars. One of the most important events of the Achaemenid period was the Persian-Greek Wars. These wars reached their peak during the reign of Xerxes. Xerxes attempted to suppress the revolt of the Greek cities by marching into Greece. The Battle of Thermopylae and Salamis are among the most important. The Battle of Thermopylae was a Persian-Greek battle that took place in 480 BC at the Strait of Thermopylae between the armies of Leonidas, king of Sparta, and the armies of Xerxes, the Achaemenid king. Leonidas and his army sacrificed themselves to ensure the people's retreat. After the Persian conquest of Thermopylae, Athens was under definite threat, and the Athenians were forced to flee with their women and children to the island of Salamis, south of Athens. It wasn't long before Athens was captured by Xerxes' army, and its citadel was burned down during the reign of Darius the Great, in retaliation for the Greeks burning Sardis. After the Battle of Thermopylae and the capture of Athens by Xerxes, the Persian-Greek War had effectively ended, and another battle was actually unnecessary because the Iranian navy dominated the seas at that time. After hearing the news of Xerxes' capture of Athens, one of the Athenian elders, Themistocles, believed that they should defend the island of Salamis, but the Greeks did not agree. Themistocles, seeing that he could not convince others of his opinion, wrote a letter to the Persian king, showing himself to be a supporter of Iran, saying that since the Greeks were planning to flee, it was time for the Persian army to destroy them completely. Xerxes believed the message to be true, and the Egyptian fleet, under the command of the Persians, captured the island of Pennsylvania. The Greeks were trapped on the island of Salamis, so they said, "We must either resist here or be destroyed," and this was what Themistocles wanted. As the battle began, Artemis took command of 5 warships and participated in the battle. Unlike the Greek ships, which had formed a line, the Iranian navy attacked in columns due to the limited space, and suddenly came under fire from enemy forces. The battle continued until nightfall, and in this battle, more than half of the Iranian ships and 2/3 of the Greek ships were destroyed. So the Iranian army retreated. The Greeks, who had not realized their victory at first, were surprised to see the Persian ships gone the next morning. Themistocles said after this victory, "The jealousy of the gods did not want a single king to rule over Asia and Europe." The fall of the Achaemenids. After Xerxes, the Achaemenid Empire gradually declined. Internal strife, provincial rebellions, and the weakness of subsequent kings weakened central power. Under Artaxerxes III, the empire was able to restore some of its power, but this period of stability did not last long. Finally, in 330 BC, Darius III, the last Achaemenid king, was defeated in battle by Alexander the Great. Alexander ended the Achaemenid Empire by conquering and burning Persepolis. The fall of the Achaemenids was not only the end of a dynasty, but also the end of a golden era in Iranian history. Achaemenid legacy. The Achaemenids left behind a great legacy. They became a model for later empires by creating a well-organized administrative system, building roads and bridges, and respecting different cultures and religions. The Charter of Human Rights of Cyrus the Great is also known as one of the first human rights documents in history. Furthermore, the art and architecture of the Achaemenids had a profound influence on later cultures. Persepolis, a symbol of the empire's grandeur, is still considered one of the world's most important historical monuments. The reliefs and tall columns of this complex demonstrate the skill and creativity of Achaemenid artists. The role of the Achaemenids in world history. The Achaemenids played an important role not only in Iranian history, but also in world history. They created a multicultural and multinational empire, providing a model for later governments. Respect for people's rights and religious tolerance were prominent features of the Achaemenid government, which was unique at that time. In addition, the Achaemenids facilitated trade and communication between different regions by creating extensive communication networks. The Royal Road, which stretched from Susa to Sardis, was one of the most important communication routes of the time, allowing for the rapid transmission of messages and goods. Conclusion. Founded by Cyrus the Great, the Achaemenid dynasty became one of the largest empires in history. With kings such as Darius the Great and Xerxes, the dynasty was able to rule over large parts of the world. However, internal conflicts and foreign wars gradually led to the decline of this empire, and Alexander the Great finally put an end to it. The legacy of the Achaemenids remains to this day as a symbol of Iranian power, culture, and civilization. If you are interested in Iranian and world history, definitely subscribe.